All right, I want to welcome everybody out to the October 4th, 2022 Jenkins City Council meeting. Madam Clerk, you call the roll, please.
Ernestine.
Here.
Chuck.
Here.
Sean.
Here.
Rick.
Here.
Sammy. Vernon.
Here.
All righty, if everybody rise. Chuck, would you lead us in prayer, please?
Dear Lord, we're just thankful to be able to gather here tonight to discuss the business of our city. And Lord, we just bring in our discussions and decision making that we do so according to your will. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Join me with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty, in your packet, you've got the minutes from the September meeting. Any questions, comments, additions, or deletions? Not entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. September financial report is also in your packet. Any questions or comments about it?
I'll make a motion we approve the September report as presented.
I'll second it.
All right, have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, same sign. Alrighty, CRAD report. Eunice, you ready to go?
Yeah. The Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development Secretary Jeff Knoll met with the CRAD board last month to discuss economic development opportunities. There's a project that he's fully supporting and will be assigning a project manager for our CRAD region. So that's very promising for the area. The aging department held a health fair at the recreation center, so we had a good turnout for that, where vaccines were offered. For the flood disaster response, the emergency operations center there at the rec center is meeting 3 days a week now. And then also the state disaster call. I've attended several of these meetings and trying to attend those weekly. A lot of federal agencies and state agencies are at these meetings to discuss with the recovery efforts. And in speaking with that, the Kentucky's Energy and Environment Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Goodman, along with the Public Protection Cabinet Secretary Ray Perry, met with Mayor DePriest and Judge Adams on Thursday to discuss different housing sites for relocation and those infrastructure needs of those sites. The EK Safe funds, which the funding was allocated during the special session, Letcher County applied and received money for a floodplain manager for that. The Letcher County Long-Term Recovery Group meets every Wednesday at Pine Mountain Grill at 4:30. I have been attending the case management subcommittee. We actually met today, and LKLP and UMCOR are with that, and I believe they have maybe 10 case managers already for Letcher County. I know LKLP will be hiring, I think they've hired 4, and they're going to be hiring at least 2 per county, which LKLP, the CAP agencies, received the state contract for the case management for survivors. The Hazard Mitigation Plan review meeting was held last Tuesday, where we had Mayor DePriest and we had Chris Cottle with Whitesburg, Mayor Polis was there, and the council member Linda Cantrell, along with Judge Adams, and we reviewed the last mitigation plan and then also discussed amendment items. The Recreational Trail Program Advisory Board met last week, and we had discussed the Recreational Trail Program application that we applied for Jenkins for a trail that begins at the amphitheater and goes up the hill to the overlook and then to the monument, and will connect to the future trails at the Raven Rock Point. So Mayor DePriest and I presented that to the advisory board, that project. Part of that presentation, CRAD actually we had our first drone flight. So Megan, who's now our FAA commercial drone pilot, met with Mayor DePriest up at the Overlook and did some video and footage for that presentation. So we're excited to use that drone with other projects. The EPA Recreation Economy for Rural Communities, that planning grant that we received for Jenkins, the steering committee was created and we held our first meeting actually at 5 o'clock this evening before this one to discuss the self-assessment, and we'll be meeting again on the 10th. And Candy Fields is the contact for that project. The Regional Transportation Committee is scheduled to meet October the 12th, and Mayor DePriest serves as the chairman of that Regional Transportation Committee. And then also the Water Management Council meets on the 12th too. They will be selecting priorities for water and sewer projects. Letcher County already held their meeting this week to select priorities for the county, and this will be regional priorities. There were 3 new projects that were added in for water and sewer: the Raven Rock Water Extension and the Sewer Extension, and then the Jenkins I&I Replacement Project Phase 2. At CRAD, I'm also the transportation planner, so the long-range statewide plan statewide for Kentucky has been released, the draft, so that's out for review. You can look at that at gettherekentucky.org, review the draft plan and provide any comments until November 2nd. And then we're also continuing work on the CDBG grant for City Hall accessibility improvements, the FEMA brick grant for Elkhorn Dam, the Phase 1 project of the sewer I&I, the law enforcement grant, and then looking at the foundation grants for the museum. Trader Pollard's working on those at the office, and he's been incorporating some of the flood damage into the applications now. So that's all that I have for the council.
Thank you.
There's a lot going on, and it's not only flood related, it's everything we were working on before, and if it wasn't for the help of the ad district, their staff and their time, we'd have a hard time keeping up with all this. So it's the 4th meeting today, and we've met a lot of good people and a lot of things happening. We met with St. Bernard Parish, started training this week. Caseworkers are something I've not seen early on, but because of the way the information comes down and when FEMA releases the names that they can pair them to caseworkers, it's now happening. I think it's going to be a big piece of helping people, having somebody they can talk to daily that understands where the help's available, how the process works, and maybe their next steps to where they're going. So they'll be placing them. That was some of the ones she talked about. We were able to present to the Recreational Trails Board. I think it was a big step to get that, and I don't know if y'all remember years back we got awarded that. The Raven Rock property changed hands. The new coal company said it didn't fit their business model, and we had to send the money back. So we're after that. That'll tie everything from the amphitheater all the way up to the radio tires and into the trail up there, going by the Overlook and the Civil War Monument, by the Raven Rock itself, and tying all that together. That's all I want to add to that. There's a lot of stuff going on, but yes, we do appreciate you all and what you do, because we don't have the staff. April and Robin's great, but we'd have a hard time keeping up with all this if they had to.
Mayor Wooddick, also LKOP is hiring, so they have a lot of positions open right now, including drivers, Head Start, as well as the new FEMA contract. So just want to put that out there.
If you're looking to apply, they should be able to help you.
Is it a website people go to apply, or?
No, I don't have any.
I think EKSEP is handling their case management job opportunities, but I would go to LKLP's website, or Rick Baker is the director. I can try to get some information for you.
All right, thank you.
Alrighty, the engineering report's in here. It's sort of the same. We're still working on all the projects. We're prioritizing our clean water money that came down through the ARPA funds. First one, we're matching that Phase 2 I&I grant, so we're going to take about 80,000 and turn it into 400 some thousand. The second round of it, I've asked to be used to help repair stuff at the sewer plant. We've had a lot of stuff go down lately. We were down to one aerator and one clarifier, and then before we got the second aerator back up, the speed reducer started thumping on the other one. So we were about 2 days without an aerator, but it got back online in time to not create too many issues. So all that's moving in the right direction. The festival committee's here tonight, and I got an idea of what's going on, but before we get them to say anything, the festival came off to me without a hitch. And when they first said they wanted to have it, I had mixed ideas whether we should or shouldn't. I'm now glad we did have it, and they pulled it off. Something people don't understand, they think, okay, we see them in the park the week before the festival and that's all goes on. It's a year-long job to wrangle all the talent, keep up with the tents, keep up with the food, keep up with the vendors, and all that stuff goes on. So they meet year-round, and then right after the festival, they start meeting again for next year. So I just want to thank them for all the hard work they put into that, and I think they've got something they want to do now.
Okay, go ahead. What we want to do is just, everybody that came to the festival said, will this money stay in Jenkins? And we promised them it would. Now that we've got all of our finances and everything taken care of, paper, t-shirts, this and that, and everything, we came up with $3,000 that the people of Jenkins, some of it was 50 cents, some was $1. Some had lost everything that they had, that they were there to support their friends and their family of Jenkins. So here we want to present a check of $3,000.
How awesome.
And it's from the people of
It's from the
Jenkins.
people. And,
It's from the citizens of Jenkins that wanted to help.
What we wanted to do, and we did pull off, I was a little worried myself, but we made sure all the food and everything was free to every person that came out. And it didn't matter if you could donate, if you couldn't donate, it was free. We had 8 bands come in, all entertainment was free, the sound was free. And so everybody pulled together, it was great the way it came out.
It was a great time.
And I was very happy to be part of that. I'd like to introduce her, but I don't know if everybody knows her, but we should. But go ahead, Bill. Tell
I'm
everybody.
Roy Tripp. This is Patrick Little, Joanne Baldwin, and
We have
Ellen back there. Ellen, you're staying quiet.
But Chuck knows because he's been there, and it's no small feat to pull a festival off. And to be able to pull one off that didn't cost the people of Jenkins anything, we were
It
super
turned out, I
excited.
really appreciate what y'all did.
Sure, you can tell people, it's free, yet,
It wasn't
no,
free.
here's your donation. I've got, no, we don't let you ask, we're taking this donation. People were just wonderful about it.
They were
All the
absolutely
folks that came, and even though it's free, and we're going to present this to,
I guess.
I guess the Todd there.
I'll jump around, somebody gonna take a picture, that way we can.
And we wanted them to know that most of the people had already gone through just terrible tragedies in their life. And we wanted them to be able to come up and enjoy themselves and not have to worry about paying for it.
We literally had people come through to get a hot dog and had lost everything they had, and they were trying to scrounge up money to donate.
yeah.
So it was emotional, but it was good. People got to get out and talk, and one of the biggest things that we seen was that a lot of people just needed to get their story out, and this was a good opportunity for them. So
We got phone calls, please have it. We will donate if you'll have it because we need to get out. We need to talk. We need to see how our neighbors are. A lot of them have lost phone contact and everything, so they begged us to have it.
Well, under the circumstance you guys are under, you did a great job having it for the people of Jenkins, and we appreciate it.
Thank
Seriously,
you.
we do.
We appreciate what you all do, though.
Appreciate it.
We're under you all, so, when we bring something up, it has to go through you all.
Well, we appreciate what y'all do.
Appreciate you all.
I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
We still have t-shirts. If anybody needs t-shirts, we still have t-shirts.
Only $10.
And we're still having safe night.
Yes,
Yeah, let's go ahead, you want to go ahead and announce that right now, Safe Night 5 to 7 that Monday night, so we'll be following the rest of the county and other cities.
October 31st. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've already reposted the city of Jenkins.
Okay, well, alrighty, anybody's welcome to come out and be involved in that.
One more thing, we would like to thank the people that did. It was the Kiwanis, they gave food free. The Masons, they gave food free. They've already contacted me today, Rick did, and said, we want to give candy out. Can we have a place under the shed? Those Masons are good, the Kiwanis is wonderful.
Brain freeze came out.
Brain Freeze came out free. Carmela waffles, homemade waffles, everything.
Shriners.
This was free.
Shriners, the school
Yeah.
came down.
The Resource Center came, everybody pulled this out of their pockets and pulled it out of their hearts for the people of Jenkins.
Yeah, I'm glad we did, really am. Thank you.
What was the hour again?
5 to 7.
5 to 7, yeah.
Alrighty, in your packets, we have the budget amendment, second read.
Ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Budget amendment number 258-A, second reading of budget amendment ordinance number 258-A, amending the city of Jenkins budget for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 / June 30th, 2022 to include non-budgeted receipts from insurance payments on wrecked vehicle in the amount of $9,935, increasing expenditures in area general fund, non-budgeted receipts from Channel 99 income in the amount of $12,100, and increasing expenditures in the area of Channel 99 expenses, non-budgeted receipts from LGEA coal severance funds in the amount of $9,759, mineral tax in the amount of $8,747, increasing expenditures in the area of LGEA, coal severance funds and mineral tax funds, non-budgeted receipts for stimulus grant in the amount of $508,395.25, and increasing expenditures in the area of stimulus funds, non-budgeted receipts from sidewalk projects in the amount of $312,437.58, and increasing expenditures in the area of road department for sidewalk project, non-budgeted receipts from safety and cyber grants in the amount of $8,000, and increasing expenditures in the area of general fund, non-budgeted receipts from community trust bank loan in the amount of $23,999 for mower, and increasing expenditures in the area of general funds, non-budgeted receipts from water, sewer, and solid waste in the amount of $32,415, and increasing expenditures in the area of utility funds will be held at the city council meeting on October 4th, 2022 at Jenkins City Hall at 7:00 p.m. Copy of the ordinance with full text is available for public inspection at the office of city clerk during normal business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Alrighty, second reading budget amendment number 258A. Any questions, comments, or entertain a motion to approve? I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion and second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Thank you all. Okay, meeting before last, we increased the okay. We match state procurement. Now, the reason this is important, everything we do, and from whatever conversation I've had with FEMA or anybody involved in it, is we have to follow our procurement policy. That's one thing they look at. So it was an important time to raise it before, but it's even more important now. So we're going to match the state procurement policy, increasing from 20,000 to 30,000 before we take bids. We still get quotes and try to get the best price, but that will be matching it. So this will be second reading. What will the amendment number be? Just amends that ordinance, or will there be a number for it?
I'm sorry.
budget or the procurement amendment, will it have a number or just?
No, no, we just flow into the actual ordinance.
Okay, it's amendment. All right, we're ready.
Amendment and revision to ordinance comes now to the City Council for City of Jenkins. Hereby resolves to amend and revise Chapter 31 of the City Procurement Code. Whereas due to inflationary pressure, the buying power of the city has been diminished. Whereas the city finds itself at a disadvantage in having to bid purchases over a ceiling of $20,000. Whereas the city finds that raising the minimum procurement amount to $30,000 should put the city in a more advantageous position and will make it comparable with state procurement amounts. Now therefore, the city hereby amends Chapter 37 as follows. All references to the sum of $20,000 shall be replaced with the sum of $30,000, particularly at Section 37.02 parens A, 3702 parens B, 3702D, subpart 1, 37.15 parens B, and 37.17 parens A. Done this blank day of October 2022, all members present voting aye. Attestation clerk, signature mayor. First reading was September 6th, second reading is tonight. Publication date to follow.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve amendment, revision to ordinance for the procurement policy.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, and the motion second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We've got a lot to do tonight, so we're trying to get on through it. But the pictures that were passed around is the Blight and Deteriorated Committee has been working on some more put forward, and if you remember, we moved some money over into that pot of money to work on some of these projects. It's one of the biggest things that we're facing is trying to clean up some of these properties, but this gets the ball in motion with them and gets some people on notice and starts working them through the court system. So while they're reviewing the pictures, Randall, you want to go ahead and read the resolution?
First, I will present into the record, the V&D committee did meet and consider a number of properties and voted on these that were presented tonight. And there is their recommendation is here in writing for these particular tracts for you all to consider and vote under the Blight and Deteriorated ordinance as to whether you want to proceed with each tract. This is their recommendations, so we'll be filing that as part of the record tonight. And one of our members is here, Joanne. If you have any questions, ask her.
Any questions?
She don't care, she'll do it.
Now, prepared in anticipation of you all reviewing these positively, I've prepared a resolution. City of Jenkins, Kentucky comes down, City Council of Jenkins, and hereby resolves as follows. Whereas the city has within its ordinances a Blight and Deteriorated ordinance number 152. Whereas the city has created a Blight and Deteriorated committee to report and recommend to the city from time to time the presence of Blight and Deteriorated structures. And now therefore the committee has made 6 recommendations which the city accepts. Be it known and resolved that the following properties be deemed blighted and deteriorated under Ordinance 152. And I made a column here, last known owner and then location. So there are photos. Those photos you're looking at are in order of what I'm reading. So the first one is an unknown owner, and that's located at Camden. And that's photo number 1. If you'll be my Van of White, you can check. Number 2, a tract we believe was owned by Woody Holbrook or maybe under foreclosure with Community Trust Bank, and that's at the entrance of Mudtown, which we call the old toll house. Number 3 is we believe to be the owner might be Matt Dameron in Mudtown. And number 5 was formerly property owned by the Sheedy family, but now I believe it's owned by Deutsche Bank the title work will reveal that, and that's located in East Jenkins, across from the school. And then the sixth property, we think is owned by Dallas Monroe, and that's on Smoky Road. To continue the resolution, that the city now declares each blighted and deteriorated property be condemned, and that the city attorney is hereby directed to proceed in condemnation or otherwise to seize these properties so that the blighted and deteriorated condition can be remedied and said property be returned to a productive state. It's so resolved that it is blank day of October 2022, Central Line Mayor, entry lines for council vote, and that takes that to the clerk.
All righty. Entertain a motion to approve the resolution for Blighted and Deteriorated Committee.
Make that motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, I'm gonna jump ahead one and then go back. With us tonight is Susan Hartman with ER Assist. ER Assist is the one that's helping us handle, prepare,
Mayor, I got
submit.
one thing before you go on that.
Okay.
On those houses, the house above me was voted in 2007 to be tore down by the mayor and council.
Can we add it to the list?
It's on the list. Where would we be with it?
Not right.
Well, that's just the new list. That's adding to the old list.
What we voting on, just these 6 tonight?
Yeah, just to add to the list that's already there. That one's on there with, along with several others.
That house was posted in 2007. You was on the council on it.
Yep. Where are we
And
at?
it's been there 15 years and it's not been touched, but there's been some houses that have been tore down here since 2 years.
Yeah, we were able to get up with the owners and,
Well, the owner done,
yeah.
you know, the owner, she done called you a dozen times, said you could have it. And you all called her, so.
Yeah, I've not talked to her, but.
Well, anyhow,
Yeah.
So is
It's
that
on-
already on the list?
Yeah, that one's been on the list. It's just, it's finding the owners
how
and
much longer is it gonna stay on there, another 15?
we can push it. You know, one time we.
I've got the paper here showing when it was posted on, Jim posted on the window. Didn't you,
Yeah,
Jim?
I'm sure it's long gone.
Coming on the door. And it says 90 days, it automatically calls the city.
Does it follow the city automatically 90 days?
We got to all see.
What's this,
Let me see. It says shall render property subject to condemnation by the city of Jenkins within 90 days.
They know you skip from one to the other, you might as well go down the order if you want to do it right, so.
Well, it's not always one to the other. It's where we can get them into the court system and find those bad ones. And then,
Yeah, all right. Same thing.
alrighty, ER Assist is helping us with the FEMA paperwork, the submitting it, the applications, the grants, and I'll let her explain a little more about the overall, what ER Assist is doing, then we'll back into a couple pieces of paperwork we need to authorize them to do those applications and submittals for us through the grants portals. Susan?
My name is Susan Hartman, and I'm with ER Assist. We're based in Bentonville, Arkansas, home of Walmart. In case you want me to deliver a message to any of the Walton family, just let me know. Their office is across the street from our office, but their office is fancier. So we're a small, woman-owned company. There are large, nationwide, huge companies that do what we do, but we're a small, scrappy little company. Essentially what we do is we work for states, counties, help them navigate the FEMA Public Assistance Rodeo, I guess you could say. We do whatever is necessary to help a community recover from a declared natural disaster. We also work in the area of mitigation, whether that be the 406 FEMA Hazard Mitigation Program or the 404 State Hazard Mitigation Program. We coordinate all of the activities involved in terms of participating in those programs. And then we also help the entity participate in any other funding program that's available for disaster recovery, for disaster mitigation, that sort of a thing. For example, we're working on the city's EK Safe grant right now, and we'll submit that. And we're here we do the footwork, we answer questions, we serve in any capacity that we possibly can. We're sort of like, I guess, surge staff in a way, because oftentimes when something like a tornado or flood occurs, the process of recovery funding is rather burdensome, really, and it's usually a whole lot more than what anyone can handle who's already on staff, who already has a plate that's overflowing with tasks to do. So, so we come in and we work on your behalf to navigate that whole system. I am your kind of, I guess, frontline assigned person, but I have a whole team behind me of various individuals, engineers, accountants, folks who used to work for Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. We have a whole slew of people on staff whose sole purpose is to help our clients not just recover, but come back stronger than ever before. And so we're just honored to serve. And I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has any. Don't ask me where it's coming from, because I don't know.
No, it's not that. It's all right. We're good, I promise. I know what's wrong. The best way I explain this, you can do your own taxes and get some money back, or you can hire H&R Block to do it and get all your, and that ain't an advertisement for H&R Block, but anyway, you can hire a professional to do it and get everything you can get. It's not only FEMA reimbursements for what we're going to work on, it's applying for the mitigation grants. So instead of putting back a culvert, we've put a culvert back and build a head wall to make it better for next time. Instead of trying to patch up the roads and wait, hopefully we can do a lot more work. Now, the roads is on everybody's mind, and we've tried to keep them passable. We're to the point now that we can get them inspected and turn them in as projects and try to fix everything back the best we can. The other part of that, and I'm not going to ask you about it tonight, but there's going to be a gap in when we submit it and the money comes back and paying the contractors. Most counties and cities are borrowing some money for the interim and a bridge loan. There's community disaster loans that we can apply for. The EK Safe money she's talking about is the money that the legislator put that $212 million in. That doesn't go to the repairs, but it can help us operate and pay expenses to ease some burden in our different counts to where we can fund some of these projects. So every road,
usually like a line of credit.
yeah, it'll be like a bridge loan line of credit type thing. That now ERCS gets paid, but it comes out of the money that we get back for them. There's an item in there for that, so it doesn't take it away from what repairs we do and what we fix back. But talk to people they worked for before and people they're working with now, and I think it's a great move that we use them to do that. And I know there's a lot of questions, and everybody's got questions, whether you're trying to figure your house out or we're trying to figure out how we're going to put back what we're going to put back. We've met with every federal partner that can be met with. We've met with all the state cabinets. I've got 4 of the state cabinet secretaries' cell phone number now. They've all reached out. They say they want to help. What I'm trying to do is make sure they don't forget us. They don't go on, think you're all right now, here's your little bit and go on. So from the roads to the creeks to housing to the immediate housing, good thing today, Scott and them got the meter set and the tap done for the trailers for the Kentucky Non-Congregate Shelter Program. So hopefully in the next little bit they'll be able to start getting people in there. It's getting cool, and we're glad we can get that part done.
So how long is that going to be before these funds are going to be accessible for us to start using to do these repairs?
Well, once we get all, and help me here, we've had prepare the project. So we go in and look at this section. It's a culvert, it's a wall. We've got 4 major slips. It's going to take some big projects. So we turn them in and we get started on it. Then we hire contractors, come in and fix it, or we fix it, or whoever ends up preparing it. What I'm talking about is in between the time we submit it and we get reimbursed through FEMA, we'll have to have money to operate on as far as those go. So that's when I'll come back and we'll either use a combination of community disaster loans or a bridge loan or a loan through the League of Cities to fill the gap. But that's why we've got professional people putting it together and doing all that. So if we have a FEMA audit, they'll help us with a FEMA audit. It's not just as simple as saying, okay, you've got a road broke here, it's worth $10,000, you send it to FEMA, it don't come back in a week. So it's a process that we've got professional help to do. It's not going to cost anything out of our budget. It comes off the FEMA side of it to have them here helping us.
And I'm happy to explain some of that too. In terms of how quickly you get monies into your accounts related to disaster recovery, part of that depends on what source of funding we're talking about. The bulk of your recovery funding is going to come from the program FEMA Public Assistance. That is a reimbursement program. It's not like some grant dollars where you get the grant monies and then you go spend it. It's a reimbursement program and it has several steps involved. And it also doesn't just involve FEMA. FEMA Public Assistance funds are approved by FEMA, but the dollars end up getting sent to the state because the state is the grantee, and then the city is the sub-grantee. So those dollars go to the state. The state has kind of their process that they go through before they actually send the funds out to the city. In terms of FEMA public assistance funding, I'm not talking about any of the other types of funding because they all go at their own little speed. In terms of FEMA public assistance funding, you are likely, depending on the project and the category that it falls into, FEMA puts your damages into projects, and those projects are categorized A through G. So depending on what category your project is in, you likely will not see any funding, I would say, until you may see some funding arrive in January, but that's probably going to be the earliest that you see those funds from the FEMA Public Assistance program. The EK Safe Grant, those dollars are coming through a little bit quicker. And hazard mitigation dollars, whether it be 406 FEMA or 404 state, there is quite a bit involved in hazard mitigation dollars, not just identifying the improvements that you want to make. You also have to go through a benefits cost analysis to demonstrate that the additional dollars invested have a sort of a return on that investment, so you may not see hazard mitigation dollars until the spring. Again, I'm speculating on some of these timelines. This process, they're moving as quickly as they can. I mean, with this particular flood, we had the declaration made. It was probably one of the fastest declarations I've ever seen made. I have worked other disasters where we were 2 or 3 months later before there was a declaration, national declaration that was made, which opens up the FEMA funding. So we are moving as quick, everyone is moving as quickly as they can, but it is still a process. It is still a federal grant program. And all of these federal grant programs eventually get audited. And so, you know, everyone is kind of very methodical about how they move forward because we don't want anything to fall through the cracks. We don't want any mistakes to be made, that sort of thing. I will say that ER Assist, we stick by our client's side from start to finish. I am still talking to cities that have hired us for the 2020 direct show that hit Iowa. I'll get about one call a week with a question. We are your partners in this recovery. We don't just come in, you know, beg y'all for a few documents, leave town, and then you're on your own. We're here with you for the whole process. And this recovery likely will be somewhat extended because there are a number of opportunities for mitigation, for improvements, not just to recover, but to, as Laurel, our president, says, build back better. And she wants royalties because she said she came up with that slogan first. So, but that is a process, and so you know, those mitigation dollars may come even later than your public assistance dollars. But you have a lot of opportunities for mitigation, and we want to see. Our goal is for the city to receive every penny that you're eligible for in this disaster recovery. The FEMA Public Assistance Guide is, I don't know, 400 pages thick or something like that. I'm in that guide every single day. And so that's the benefit of hiring a company like ours, because the FEMA Public Assistance pool is one that we live in 24/7, really, practically. My phone's usually going off with Slack messages at 5 a.m. So that's the benefit of bringing us on. Is this is a policy-driven program, and we live and breathe that policy, so that you don't have to.
So the approach is, these dollars that's going to help put the city back are slow in coming. A lot of red tape, as you can imagine, listening to all those steps. So the people's need is now. So this is what the mayor is talking about. At some point, once assessments are done and we get some dollar figures, and so the people don't have to wait a year or two for all this money to come in. You know, the city may step up and borrow money and fix these problems and get the money back later on. They'll take the risk of getting it back, not the people who's been injured, or the roads, or not people, but the roads and so forth. So that's the way the process is working in these cities and counties. Is you know the money's coming, you just can't wait on it. You got to deal with your issues right now. So they're stepping up and borrowing the money to as the mayor said, to be a bridge while we're waiting on that money.
And I know this is something that you didn't want to talk about tonight, particularly in terms of loans and stuff like that, but there are, the state has put forward some grant funding that helps a county or a city cover fees associated with loans, loan fees and interest fees, that sort of a thing. That's what they offered that through the EK Safe grant with the Western Kentucky tornadoes, and they've offered that same thing here in Eastern Kentucky. So when it comes to that point that you have that discussion, there are some programs out there to cover the extra expense of doing something like taking out a loan. But yeah, the FEMA PA it is a good program, even though it does come with a lot of red tape, but it isn't something, it's not like your insurance company who rolls into town, writes an adjuster's report, and writes a check. It's nothing like that.
Let's hope it's not like the FEMA that deals with private individuals, because they have and they don't tell you that they have a limit. For example, his $10,000 culvert repair, they'll turn it in, and it's okay, here's your $1,000 toward that $10,000. That's all they're going to pay. Mm-hmm. That's how they're doing the individuals.
Individual assistance through FEMA is a different program than FEMA Public Assistance.
But it's still FEMA, and I think they may end up doing the same thing. Give you only a small percentage of what the needs are.
On FEMA Public Assistance, There is a cost share, but FEMA doesn't pay, I mean, you know, FEMA doesn't come in like they do on individual assistance and pay a sliver of eligible costs. It's an entirely different program than FEMA individual assistance.
We'll see.
We're going to put forth projects and we'll have the whole scope. And I understand exactly what you're talking about. A lot of the meetings we're going to, if they're from the state, they'll announce immediately that they're not from FEMA. And here's what we're going to talk about. Anyway, going forward with them, what we need is two pieces, and one is resolution for designation of applicant's agent, and that's for them to be able to manage these grants. And you got that, Brandon? Read that one. The second one, I don't think we have to read all of it.
I think I found it here. Tab V-3-2, designation of applicant's agent, resolution. Be resolved by the City Council of the City of Jenkins that Laurel Matula or Susan Hartman, grant managers, is hereby authorized to execute forward on behalf of the City of Jenkins, a public entity established under the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. This application to file it in the appropriate state offices for purposes of obtaining certain federal financial assistance under the Disaster Relief Act, Friends Public Law 288, 93rd Congress, close friends, or otherwise available from the President's Disaster Relief Fund. The City of Jenkins, a public entity established under the laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, hereby authorizes its agent to provide to the state and to the Federal Emergency Management Agency, friends, FEMA, close friends, for all matters pertaining to such federal disaster assistance. The assurances and agreements printed on the reverse side hereof. Passed and approved this 3rd day of October 2022. Name and title line, name and title line, name and title line. I, Todd E. Priest, duly appointed mayor of City of Jenkins, do hereby certify that the above is a true and accurate copy of the resolution passed and approved by the City Council of the City of Jenkins on the 3rd day of October 22nd, 9/23/22. Signature line mayor, signature.
And we'll change that date to 4th October.
Yeah, really, that certification should be the clerk. But that'd be all right.
Okay. All right, have a motion to approve designation applicant agent resolution.
I'll make that motion.
One second.
Got a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Also, the other one's not a resolution, but it's a letter, and what it says is they'll be able to get in our grants portal and be able to manage all this. So permission to interact granted is Susan Hartman, Justin Staley, and Laurel Matula with ER Assist. So this just gives them authorization to act on our behalf with calls and responding to requests and scoping meetings and all things goes on. This is a huge puzzle, and there's a lot of pieces to it, but that's all they do. They're dedicated to keeping up with it and understanding and them dealing with it before. So could entertain a motion to grant permission to interact.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Still on recovery. Here's a list of things that we may or may not be needing. Instead of coming back and forth and doing it, this gets it ready. We'll be talking with Susan and Laurel, and as we're putting these projects together, a better idea of what we might need. So rail and cribbing, ditching, clean, reshape, embankment repair using rock, culverts put in place or purchased, so it may be purchasing for us to put in or put in place by a contractor, road engineering services, culvert cleanouts, and one of the more important ones is blacktop. So need your permission that we could go ahead and advertise for one or all of these to get those folks in place, so when we get the projects together, we can get moving on it. I'll just need a motion to approve for advertisements for RFQs.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, a motion second, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Moving on down, the floodplain permitting, and you all probably heard bits and pieces. The county is using GPD engineering, and normally the local floodplain coordinator is appointed, or it's the mayor. I happen to be both. I can go look at property and say that's where the property is at, and after that, that's as far as my experience goes. GPD has come on with the county. They're using EK Safe money to pay for them. What I'd like to do is you all authorize us to use them as the coordinator approval for them to sign off on local permits, and also to use them to be able to establish base flood elevations and to do elevation certificates that might be needed as some of these questions come up with these properties.
They're getting paid for it through a grant.
They're getting paid through a grant for the whole, well, as of now, it's the county and Jenkins, Plattsburgh and Neon's going to be looking at it too. They're already set up. They've already got all the data downloaded. They've got the LiDAR. They've got all the information from mapping already in place to go. We could go independent and try to hire somebody else, apply for EK Safe money and pay for them. On the back side of this, if they get toward the end of their contract and we've needed them a lot more than we think, or the countywide, we may have to apply for EK Safe money to offset that cost. We're not there yet, so tonight I just need approval to use GPT engineering as floodplain coordinator and technical use for the city.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Already motion second, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? I'm feeling like I've left something out. Council got anything else?
Got the police recommendation.
Oh, yeah. Jim, you want to do your report?
Yeah, real quick. Y'all have the report in front of you.
Hey, Jim, you'll come on in here so
Y'all have the report in front of you. Obviously, we've had a lot of complaints. Nobody sent me a memo about it being Domestic Violence Month because we had quite a few of those. But I am pleased to report, though, that as far as things relating to the flood, such as looting, et cetera, we've really been really good on that. Not because we're out there so much, but I think it's because we've got really good people in our city, and these people are taking care of each other. So our incidents related to flood stuff is really down low. Tim and Voxie, school for the bulk of the month of September. They'll be back here in the next couple days. Last report I had from them was they were both doing excellent, so that should be a real outstanding asset for us. I'd like to tell the Sheriff's Office and Fleming Neon PD, they have helped in Tim's absence cover things so that we get everything covered all the time. So I really appreciate them. Attach your packets, if you would. There's the rules of operation we're going to try to look at for ATVs. Of those, I mean, obviously we can pick and choose as we need, as you see on there, but those are the ones that I think that would be the best for us as far as making sure everybody has a balance between being able to ride and have fun, but still do it safely and not bother our neighbors. That's what we're worried about the most. So I think the biggest thing was if we go with a proposed time of allowed operation, that'll help take care of a lot of the other stuff. Some of the things we just kind of have to put in there just so that the parents and adult riders understand, hey, this is what we need to do to keep things safe. Not just because we're trying to legislate things, it's because we're trying to keep them safe and not bother our neighbors.
You want this to be a proposed ordinance?
Well, I don't know exactly. I think Mayor and I had talked about that once before. I don't know if that's something that we can do. We'll have to look at that.
What I'd like to do tonight with this is the council take it with them. I'd like Randall to look over it and see how this falls and what we should do or not, whether it's ordinance. My thinking on it is that it is defining ATV friendly. It was ATV friendly, and then it sort of got in different places. I think if we start in the ordinances, we have to look at the state laws and all the other laws to see if we're above or beyond those. So that's why I'd like for you to sort of look it over and see, let the council look it over and see if they want to add something or something they don't agree with. The one piece that I'm thinking about right now is we'd have to have some kind of allowance, and it's not people coming through town to get to the self-service and back, or if they've been riding, they're going back home to Dorton or wherever they come from. It may be after these hours, but definitely in the neighborhoods, some kind of limit on when they should be out, when they shouldn't be out. But if y'all would look at it, and the next meeting we'll go over it, you could add to it or change it, or if you don't agree with it, let's figure out and let Randall look it over and see where we're at, whether we need to go in the form of an ordinance or just more of a policy that we want to follow with ATV friendly. So
Kind of a public service announcement, it's kind of saying.
yeah, and that way everybody knows where we're at. You know, we want everybody to enjoy it. We want people to come to town and enjoy it. We don't want people on wheelies going up through neighborhoods at 3 o'clock in the morning, and that's why we're here visiting. We shouldn't have to visit it, but everybody don't do what they should do. So
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim, most of these are already covered by state law.
Most, as far as the time of operation allowed, of course, we don't do that. And I agree with the mayor as far as we're not having problems with people that are out riding and they're coming through town going home after hours. What we're having problems with, basically, is the juveniles coming out at night, running around, blaring their music, loud mufflers, just running in circles around the neighborhoods. And that's the biggest problem that we're having. So if we kind of do that, and kind of make some kind of allowance for people that are, you know, obviously common sense. You know, if one of our officers is out and somebody's coming through town and they're not doing anything wrong, they're just on Main Street and they're just driving right on through the town, what harm is that? But when you're going around the neighborhood with your loud mufflers and your loud music in the middle of the night, that's a little different. That's why I kind of want to go with a 9 at night till 8 in the morning. That gives people at work, they come home at 4. In the winter, it's getting dark quick. If we say sundown till sunset, those people, it's unfair to them, they don't get a ride. And they worked all their life for these things. So, you know, I think we need to give them a chance there. But most of the other stuff does fall under, but it's kind of vague on the state laws on that too. They change them all the time. So I guess if we kind of just give a kind of a little, this is what we expect, guys, you know, you won't have any problems as long as you follow this, then we should be okay.
Jim, we appreciate you. You've been a big help through this whole thing. He's kept a lot of stuff off my back I've not had to deal with what time we're meeting and training and trying to get up there folks that can help us the most. So
I was real proud of our people because, like I said, there's been very few problems other than, you know, paperwork or whatever, but and no criminal stuff. We've been very lucky. We got some really good folks here. Really good.
alrighty, council got anything before I close this out?
I'd just like to thank the B&D committee for what you've done so far. It pleases me. It pleases a lot of people in the neighborhoods. Certainly. Thank you.
I would say making the meetings available on YouTube is a plus too for people who cut the cable.
Yeah, it is, and I'd get that. I said, well, we had it here, and they said, well, I don't get that anymore. You can thank our technical genius guru, city clerk, does it. These girls work hard, and we mentioned it, she mentioned it, and that evening it was on there, so I want to thank her. They've all stepped up. They're taking calls, they're fielding calls. I talked about caseworkers early and wish we had them early. Well, we've had caseworkers. They've answered the phone, they've made calls, they've checked with this person or that person and where can you get this, and they've created a list, and I'm afraid to say we've got a list, but we've got a list that who we've tried to check on in the Jenkins area and you know, not just in Jenkins, toward Pike County and toward Neon. They've been great about doing that, and every now and then they'll text, what about this? And then we work on the next step. So hopefully caseworkers will come online and give them a little break from that, but they'll still be here, and if people need stuff, they can still call City Hall. We don't have all the answers, but we pretty much know who to get a hold of to try to get them to the next phase. I can't understand, because Rick can, I can't understand what it is to look through the studs in your wall and what little bit we have to do here at City Hall. I want people to know, keep fighting and don't quit. We were meeting with some of the officials the other day, and as many as 300 applicants had applied, and they've not talked to them since. So I don't know if they give up on the first step, they can't find them. Now, used to, they made 3 calls, and that was it. Now they make 3 calls, they try to go out to the properties where they were, last record of where they were applying for. So they asked us to get that information out. So if you applied and not heard, just call them back, go to the DRC. It's best to go to the DRC in Whitesburg, which is the Disaster Recovery Center. They use all these letters. So go sit down with them and explain best you can. I wish there was a better way, and me and Rick talked a long time yesterday. There's bound to be a better way.
When are they finally leaving? Have you heard that?
From the Disaster Recovery Center, they're here through the end of the month for sure. They may be here longer, and we will request that. We will keep saying, and as long as people are using it, I think they'll stay around. They've had days it's a little more than less. And if you go talk to them and they don't appeal, go again another day. Maybe you'll talk to a different person. I think a big piece would if they had standardized. I ain't gonna get into that. Anyway, there's other ways.
Is there a way, Mayor, that we can get our meetings back in the newspaper? I've been asked, why is it not in the Mountain Eagle anymore? And I understand we had, he was here, but he's no longer. He's
no longer there. I was on the phone with one of the reporters today, and I reminded him that we was having the meeting tonight, and he had another thing going on. I think it's just the lack of reporters. I talked to Ben off and on. I talked to Sam off and on. And they've been invited. They get the notification every time we send it out. So yeah, we would.
Well, there's sometimes they will take an article and print it if we write it up and send it in. No, they used to be able to do that. I don't know if they'll do it now or not.
Yeah, well, sometimes, and now maybe with it being on YouTube, they could watch it on YouTube and do it from there anytime they wanted to do it. So I'd welcome them to do that. And another reason that these applications is important, we had the training with St. Bernard Parish this morning, and is the individual assistance applications that's put in determines the final assistance for everything, not just only individual assistance, but the public assistance. When HUD comes in and they start looking more serious at the houses and the mitigation and all the pieces that goes with it. And like I said, this is like a huge puzzle that somebody has shook up and thrown on the floor. And we're grabbing corner pieces and trying to come around. That's about where we're at. We've got about 2 corners in, and we're going to start filling in the middle. So, you know, up to now, we have got to where we're at. It's a long road again. We keep getting told by other agencies that we're so far ahead. I don't feel it. I feel like we need to do more and faster, but I think we're moving at a pace ahead of other agencies, but still. I'll just close with, if anybody needs anything and they've got a question, call, talk to one of the girls, call, get a hold of me, or like whatever, if you run into me at the self-service or wherever, we'll see if we can get you some help. Caseworkers are coming, the training's going on, they are hiring, the LKLP's hiring, how many more?
Yeah, UMCOR is hiring also. I've got Susie Savage, I think is her name. I've got her contact information. I believe she said that they're going to have 10 in Letcher County. So she's been attending the long-term recovery meetings. Like I said, they meet every Wednesday at 4:30 at the Grill. And you won't see Mayor DePriest there. It's by design. No elected officials are at the long-term recovery meetings. They've divided up into 7 subcommittees focused on construction, unmet needs, any type of mental or spiritual guidance through this disaster, the case management subcommittee, funding, fundraising, grant opportunities. So there's 7 committees that have been set up. I'm serving on the case management one along with LKLP and UMCOR to kind of help guide in the training and the needs with that. So that long-term recovery group is meeting weekly, and it's definitely needed, and so definitely try to get out there if you can.
I am on the Unmet Needs Committee, and if anybody has something immediate that they need something for, just get in touch with me. Like I said, I went to the first meeting, and that's the committee that we're on. And our church from Lexington is helping out with a lot of that. If you need something or somebody is in dire need of something, just let me know. We have some, like credit cards for them that they can get right then. Like if they need baby formula, milk, food, anything like that. Then we have applications, like I say, through our church too. If you need power bills right now paid or something, I've got some applications for that through the church. And then, like I say, the Unmet Needs Committee will meet tomorrow night. But if you know somebody that is in dire need, just let me know, because we do have some more funding coming in through the Knights of Columbus and stuff from Ashland and all that. So if somebody needs something, just give me a call. And I want to thank these ladies. Jenkins Day couldn't do it without them, because they're all the time answering the phone. People call them and they just, call us and give us messages. So they have been a very big asset to all this year.
They have. We could talk all night. Appreciate everybody coming out tonight. We're going to get through this. It's aggravating at times, but with all the meetings we're going to and all the promise of the things that can happen, I'm still excited about being here. So thank you all for coming out tonight, and we'll be here next month. Somebody want to make a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say bye. Thank you.
Who's this? For the police.